Hey everyone, today we're talking about 5 ways that you can write even if you have a full life and a full-time job. My name is Kristen, this is my YouTube and Authortube channel, and I can't wait to get started. Let's do this! Okay, let's jump right in. So this is something that I feel really passionately about. I have a full-time job, a full-time life, but I love to write. I'm in the middle of my probably 3rd or 4th novel. None of them have yet to be published because I haven't gone through the review process yet. But that doesn't mean that I don't spend a good chunk of my time writing along with doing other life things. So these are the tips that I have found the most useful as I kind of put writing and put noveling into my everyday life. The first tip I have is to make sure that you have your bases covered first. If you have a full-time job, make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do for your job before you start noveling. Obviously, you don't want to get fired. You need a way to provide for yourself. So if your full-time job is not yet being a novelist, make sure that your work is a priority. You also want to make sure to prioritize your family, your friends, and make sure that the important things in your lives are getting the treatment and getting the attention that they need. Otherwise, you're really going to diminish your quality of life and you're going to kind of turn into an anxious little recluse as you become a novelist. And nobody wants that. Everybody wants a happy, balanced life. And honestly, the best way to do that is to prioritize the must-dos before you prioritize your noveling. I know that doesn't sound fun. I know that you have these characters and these scenes and these plots and these villains and all of these awesome things that you're so excited to write. But just make sure that before you dive into that, you're covering the things that keep your life afloat and keep your life happy and stable. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 is actually scheduling time to novel. I have done this and I have not done this, and I can tell you from experience that when you schedule time to novel, it's a lot more effective. And I'm not talking about, like, if you have an idea that pops into your head or you have a dream and you wake up and you want to include something in there, jot it down. That's totally fine. Like, keep paper with you, write down ideas, but don't in the middle of the night decide, I'm just going to write 5 pages. Like, keep to your schedule. If you're a morning person, maybe that means waking up an hour early and crushing out those pages and those words, before anyone's awake. I myself am not a morning person, and so I prefer to do my writing at nighttime. I can get an hour, sometimes 2 in after dinner, after the house is cleaned up, when people are in bed, and it really is a great way for me to kind of have alone time. My brain functions really fast, rapid at that time of night. And so it's just something that depends on you personally, but that also is something that you need to set time aside for because it's important. Just like making sure your life is prioritized according to work and family and stuff like that, this needs to be a priority as well, especially if you're serious about being a novelist. And so make sure that you schedule that during a time where you yourself are more productive and the most productive. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 is making sure you're consistent. Psychologists and doctors and all sorts of brilliant people have said that it takes 21 to 31 days to form a habit. And so writing is not going to be any different than that. Stick to your schedule for a good month and see what happens. Maybe it's something that's going to be really easy for you. Maybe it's going to be hard. But definitely be consistent, especially for that first month as you're forming that habit, so that writing becomes a part of your life, a part of your routine, a part of your schedule. It's super, super important. My fourth tip is one of my favorites. It's dedicating a spot in your house to be your writing area. This is my writing area right now. It's also my work from home area ever since the pandemic hit. Someday when I have a bigger house, I would love to have a room dedicated to just my office, just my writing space. But for now, this is fantastic. The key here is to make sure you include colors that you love. I love plants. I love wall art, especially rabbits, but I like word art too. And so those are things that I've incorporated into my writing space. And the awesome thing here is that you don't have to break the bank to do this. They have all sorts of DIY projects on YouTube that you can look up. The Dollar Tree has like legit stuff that isn't totally chintzy that you can use. And then also checking out places like Ross and Marshall's, places that like Home Goods even, places that are a little bit discounted and will help you find your vibe and make your writing zone and your area a place where you really, really want to spend time. Because if you really want to spend time there and you're only allowed to write there, then that's really going to motivate you to spend time in that area, spend time writing, and just kind of really settling in to your routine in your writing spot. So that was tip number 4. Tip number 5 is a little bit silly, but it's worked for me, so I'm going to give it out anyway. It's write yourself a pact. And if you write it out and you sign it, and then have like an accountability partner, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your best friend, your writing buddy, whoever, have them sign it and then frame it. It can even be a dollar store frame, and hang it in your writing area just so you can see it and you know that you've made a commitment to write X amount of words, to write X amount of days in a row, to finish your manuscript, to finish editing your manuscript in my case. And so I think that that is a really, really good way to do that. It seems a little bit silly, but it works. Accountability is a really important thing. And along with that, have your accountability partner check in with you and you check in with them. Because at the end of the day, you really are going to want someone on your side. And if someone's checking in saying, hey, how did your word count go today? And if you say, not so good, then that motivates you even more to try harder tomorrow. So anyway, those are my 5 tips. Hopefully that helps you guys. I know that they've really helped me just kind of get in the groove of writing, especially when you have a full-time life. Like if you have kids, if you have a husband, if you have relationships, if you have a full-time job that's really demanding. I work in marketing, so I never know when I'm going to get pulled away, when something's going to be a fire drill or urgent. And it's been a real challenge for me to fit writing into my full-time life. But it can be done, and eventually, fingers crossed, being a novelist can someday be my full-time job. So I hope these tips are helpful. If you have any tips that work for you, please leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I'd love it if you'd subscribe to my channel as well. I share content once or twice a week just on writing tips, real life stuff, and just, how to really embrace writing when it's your passion and you may not know where to go from there. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.